Okay, welcome back to Say Yes to You. This is my channel where I will be discussing topics around meditation, personal development, spirituality, and also I'm going to come with some tips and tricks that you can use to say yes to you today. Today I will be talking about how your consciousness and chronic pain are related. Chronic pain, as you probably know, if you're clicking on this video, is a pain due to inflammation, due to some type of underlying neurological cause that lasts from weeks to years. I never really liked that title of chronic pain or being a chronic pain sufferer until I Googled the definition and I realized, oh, I'm a chronic pain. I was a person suffering with chronic pain. Now, when I say consciousness, it's a very heady word, but my definition for consciousness is simply being aware, aware of our 3D reality, aware of the things that we can see, that we can touch, that we can taste. But also that consciousness extends to your internal environment. Are you conscious or aware of what's happening on the inside? Are you aware of what it is that you're thinking, what your belief system is? I'm going to be looking down at my cue cards here to make sure that I stay on track and hit all of my points. So, when I say belief system or belief systems, what are your beliefs? What do you really believe about yourself? And I would say that a lot of times we are not actually aware of what the belief system is. We have these patterns, people, places, and things, events show up. But if you're not really conscious, you think that it's all coincidence, it's happenstance, and your life is disorganized, is chaos. Things are random, which they are not. So I'm going to talk about myself a little bit and my story. In 2014, I was involved in a car accident. I was rear-ended and I sustained a back injury. The areas affected were my cervical spine and my lumbar spine, the lower part of my spine. It was, I'll say this, I was lucky in that I didn't sustain really what I would consider severe injury. But what followed was, dealing with lawyers and obviously the chronic pain and, visits to a neurologist and the chiropractor. It was unpleasant. I'll put it that way. It was unpleasant. Because of the injuries to my spine, specifically the lower part of my spine, there was a lot of pain there. It was actually painful to sit. I'm smiling now because I'm remembering those times, but it was actually painful to even sit down. I was prescribed, pain meds, specifically some narcotics, and because of my own belief system, I chose not to. The only narcotic that I took was the Tylenol 3 with the codeine. And even with that, I said to myself, I'm going to see how much of this pain I can really tolerate. And if I really feel like I can't tolerate it, then I will go with the codeine. So I tried to use it sparingly. I'll leave it there. Anyone who has dealt with narcotics prescribed by your healthcare professional, we know what it is. We know what it is. Okay. So as I was sitting there in pain, it allowed me a lot of time to kind of think about, well, how did I end up in this position? I began to look at what are my belief system, what must I believe about myself that I'm here now? And what I came to was, what was I thinking, what was I feeling before the car accident? And what I was thinking and feeling was, life is miserable for me right now. At that time, I was doing a job where I was traveling up and down the East Coast by car. going to different facilities and providing healthcare services. Um, I was done. I was done. And it was hard for me to admit that I was done because I was thinking, if I were to quit, what would people say? How would I support myself? It just, I didn't see a way out for myself. Um, I'll follow that up with, it's my belief that there are no such thing as coincidences, and even accidents are not a thing. If you are a believer in the law of attraction, it'll make sense to you that whatever is happening internally has its own vibration. So that whatever is showing up on the outside is going to match that vibration. So if I'm, not if, I was a person who was thinking, life is miserable, I don't want to travel anymore, I want to be able to be home every night and sleep in my own bed. And because that was my dominant vibration, because it was just so heavy on my mind, it was so heavy on my mind, what showed up had to be a match for that. And guess what? It was, because the accident couldn't work anymore, couldn't do the traveling, so I was back at home recuperating. I want to show this fantastic book that I came across by Louise Hay, and it's called You Can Heal Your Life. Louise Hay is arguably the godmother of the personal development movement. She began her work in the 1970s, 1980s, and really began to make a connection between your consciousness and the effects that your consciousness or your degree of awareness can have on your body. She is arguably the mother of affirmations. And in that book, You Can Heal Your Life, Louise Hay goes through different ailments, different conditions in the body, and matches it up with your belief system. So in my case, I injured my back. And Louise Hay in her book says that when you sustain back injuries, it's related to your belief system around support. So with the neck, when you have injury to your neck, it's related to a belief that you're not being supported emotionally. When you have injury to your mid-back, it's related to guilt, feeling stabbed in the back, things that you want to put behind you, but because you've not dealt with them, they're there. The lower back has to do with fear of money and financial support. So in my case, with the cervical spine, with the neck area and the lower back, so I was dealing with not wanting to work that job anymore, but I'd also gone through a short sale of my first home. I was feeling like, there was no one really supporting me, or because of my belief system, what I would say is I was not able to receive the support that was being offered. So I felt very vulnerable emotionally because of the finances, the financial aspect of doing a short sale. I'm vulnerable because of leaving this job. How would I be able to support myself financially? That ties into the lower back and the issues with the finances. So like I say, because of the severity of those injuries, I was able to really sit back and become aware of, why did this situation happen to me? What is my belief system? What am I telling myself that has me here? And I'm using the examples of the short sale, the job, but those were the latest examples. I would say that life is really supporting us in that there are patterns that happen in your life, and those patterns are coming up as your opportunity to deal with the underlying belief. So even though these are things that happened in 2014, circa 2014, really it started in my earlier years. And because I had not dealt with it in those earlier times, 6 years ago, 5 years ago, that was my new opportunity to use my consciousness to begin to kind of settle things for myself. So yes, that was my opportunity to replace that belief system. So what ended up happening was, because I was able to better deal with it. And let me say this. Even though there are patterns, if you look, there are going to be patterns that are opportunities for you to heal. And being able to, one, recognize a pattern is amazing in and of itself, because recognizing the pattern is your indication that you are in fact aware, you are in fact conscious. Because I had the time and the wherewithal to look and see, hey, this is what's happening in my life, and then move from that place, I did quit the job. And what happened after I quit the job is I began to make more money than I was making in that job. But really what sparked this video is I was driving along the same road where I was rear-ended. And let me say this, because it was a traumatic event, there were several months where I could not even, be on that road anymore because it was so traumatic and triggering. But I was driving along that road and I was thinking, wow, I've really come a long way. One, even being able to drive on this road, but two, feeling vital, feeling fit, feeling strong. And I was like, oh my goodness, the doctor said this is something that you're going to be dealing with for the rest of your life. They had suggested that I take those injections. I forget the name of it. Take those injections that people sometimes take to kind of, I think, deaden the nerve endings so that you can't feel that pain anymore. But the pain is still there. You're desensitizing yourself, but the pain is still there. I declined that. The only thing I really did, and I will continue to do going forward, is visit with my chiropractor. I love my chiropractor, but that type of homeopathy works to keep your body in alignment. And I just love the way that I feel when I do visit the chiropractor. And in transparency, I've not been going to the chiropractor for a few months now. And they messaged me saying, come on back. And a couple of days ago, I got one of those messages, and after months of feeling fantastic, I found a little twinge in my back, and I'm like, oh, an older part of me is suggesting that I do need the chiropractor, that if I don't go to the chiropractor, I'm going to endure this pain. Once I made that connection, like, no, actually, no, the pain went away. So that was a long way around the bend, but I'm going to talk about what I did specifically to use my consciousness and realign my body and allow that type of pain to no longer be prominent in my life. I would say that really the gateway to greater consciousness for me has been meditation. The meditation has helped me to declutter my mind when you have these negative beliefs, or just these beliefs that are really not serving you. It's going to pop out with so many different examples, so many different ways to reinforce itself. So with the meditation, I found that I was able to kind of, clear my mind so that I can better see these are the things that are in my way. Louise Hays talks about affirmations, with I myself do love to use. So in her book, You Can Heal My Life, the affirmations that Louise Hays talks about for the upper back or the neck area, which again is related to emotional support, is: I love and approve of myself. Life loves and supports me. For the mid back, which is about guilt, her suggested affirmation is: I release the past. I am free to move forward with love in my heart. And for the lower back, which is the fear of money, I trust the process of life. All I need is taken care of. I am safe. A little tidbit about affirmations is when you're doing your affirmations, you really want to connect to the feeling of those words. It's one thing to say the affirmations, very dryly, but I would say that that's not really going to get you too far, because it's the feeling, it's the emotion that's broadcasting out to the rest of the universe. This is my frequency. This is who I am. So with that law of attraction, that's going to come back to you. So really try to feel and connect to any affirmation that you choose. And what I would say about the affirmations is, that's strong. I am safe. Well, after I was rear-ended, that's the last. That's one of the last feelings I could have, is that I am safe. I trust the process of life. Life supports me. Those kind of things. I feel like, and I don't believe I'm alone. It's hard to say it, feel it, and mean it. So my suggestion for that would be a precursor to something that's so strong and so different from how you really feel is I'm open to releasing the past. Or what else did I say? I'm willing to forgive. I'm willing to release the past. So just something to kind of soften the edge of those very, I would say, hard and strong affirmations. So the meditation and the affirmations were jumping off points for me. What I would say about chronic pain, because chronic pain is more prevalent than I knew. People are suffering with chronic pain for a variety of reasons. I would say continue, if you are someone who takes medication, continue to take your medication. Continue to do your physical therapy or occupational therapy. Go ahead and do the recommended surgeries. If they're recommending any kind of those shots for you, go ahead and do it. But I would say begin to use consciousness, begin to use your awareness as an addendum to that. Use that as a support to kind of get you over the hump. Because for many people, it's not going to be instantaneous. It is something that you're likely going to have to work on. Even with the meditation, they say the meditation is a practice, because your mind wants to be jumping around all of the time. So even if you can, start off with a minute, 5 minutes, you're building your practice, opening up yourself to what are my beliefs? What do I really believe about myself? What do I think of myself? What do I believe I deserve? Because the idea that I would invite a car accident that was very debilitating is a hard pill to swallow. That's tough. To me, it speaks of my own fear of how the world would respond, that I would go to those lengths. But, another way to reframe that is my subconscious mind, which is the source of those beliefs. My subconscious mind and the universe love me so much that it's doing what I'm asking of it. I was asking that I no longer had to go to this job. I no longer had to travel, and that's what I got. One way to look at it is it's a loving thing. Actually, that's all I wanted to talk about in this video, but then something, it feels edgy. It feels really edgy, but I want to offer this as well. There is a saying that goes, when things go wrong in your life, you can stop and ask yourself, who do I need to forgive? A great part of my journey to physical health and vitality has been the forgiveness work. The reason it feels edgy is because just like going inward to look at what do you actually believe about yourself, It's hard. It is hard work. It is hard work to begin to look at that forgiveness piece. The idea that I would invite that type of injury indicates forgiveness of myself. If someone else had done that to me, I would have been pissed. But that's something that I created. So that forgiveness of myself, forgiveness of the person who rear-ended me, forgiveness of the lawyers who were really not offering me anything that I found to be acceptable. Forgiveness of that situation was difficult, was very difficult. So if you can begin that forgiveness work, I feel like you would be ahead of the game. But again, I know that it's tough. It's tough. So what I'd like to do is, if you would like support on doing that forgiveness work, I would invite you to open up the description box, and you'll find my contact information in there. Again, I do work as a certified law of attraction coach, as well as EFT practitioner and energy worker. I would love to support you if we're a match. Everything isn't for everyone, but the invitation is there. Being able to go a little deeper, the fruits that you can enjoy from that type of work, that type of effort, beautiful, beautiful. That is it. I think I did one take. Okay, I'm keeping up with my streak. All right, well, thanks again. Hopefully, if you've made it to the end of the video, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, to like the video, to share the video, whatever it is that people do. I don't know. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you the next time. Bye-bye.